Good evening, I'm Storm Track 13 Chief Meteorologist Alex Kirchner. We're live on our website, our app, our Facebook page, and our YouTube page right now. I'm keeping an eye on the comments and questions on our 13 WREX Facebook page. So let me know if you're wondering anything, and I'll try to answer those as quickly as possible. We're talking about more snowfall on the way as we go into the weekend. The total snowfall will not be as much as what we saw just the other night, but it's going to make an impact, especially for your Friday evening plans. You look at satellite and radar, still got a ways to go before these weather systems get to us, but a couple lows are coming out of the Rockies. So as results, we'll see a couple rounds of snowfall going into the weekend. We do have some alerts out already. National Weather Service issued a winter weather advisory for southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. We got a question here. Will we be under the watch, warning, or advisory? Right now, northern Illinois not under an advisory, but the National Weather Service is potentially going to issue one. They're kind of waiting and seeing just how this storm system trends in. Right now, southern Wisconsin on track to pick up more snowfall than northern Illinois. That's why the National Weather Service office in Milwaukee issued that winter weather advisory for southern Wisconsin. Northern Illinois, it'll depend on the timing, the intensity, and all that. But no matter if you're under the advisory or not, roads will turn quickly slushy tomorrow evening because of that burst of heavy snowfall. The totals won't be, again, nearly as much as we saw last night, but it's the timing of all of this. So we're only looking at about a 2 to 3 hour window for snowfall, but it's going to pack a punch when it's here. So here we are already at about 11 o'clock or 7 o'clock as of Friday evening. And in fact, I'm going to back that loop up just a little bit here to kind of get us right towards the start of the event. But you'll notice as we start this off at about 4 o'clock, nothing's going on. We get to about 5 o'clock. Heavy snowfall's already moving in. Between 5 and 6, it sweeps across the area. Between 8 and 9, it's already out, so it's not with us for long, but it will be close to an inch an hour at times. So even within that 2 to 3 hour window, we're talking potentially up to 3 inches of snowfall in some spots. So it'll be compacted into just that 2 to 3 hour window. So roads, again, rapidly turning slushy tomorrow evening. Don't let that catch you off guard. We then get a brief break throughout Friday night. We get into Saturday, and it's more light snowfall. So this will be just kind of on and off, hit or miss snow, not picking up quite as much, but it is a bit persistent. So it'll just kind of keep snowing on and off throughout a lot of the day. So that may keep roads a little slushy at times throughout the day on Saturday. So here's what you need to know. Between about 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, heavy snowfall at times, about 1 to 3 inches of snow on the way, along with some blustery winds that could result in some blowing and drifting snow. So roads will quickly turn slushy as of Friday evening. So going from dry to snow-covered in a hurry just because of the intensity of that snowfall, even though the amounts are going to be a little on the lower end. And then Saturday, about another inch to 2 on the way. So in total, we are looking at 4 to 6 in southern Wisconsin, about 2 to 4 across northern Illinois. But this is for the entirety of this event coming through. So this is the total for both rounds. And again, I kind of broke it down here. Friday evening, about 1 to 3, then a separate 1 to 2 coming on Saturday. But it will add up over time, especially as you get into southern Wisconsin. Now, that 6-inch total is probably going to end up north of Janesville. So I do think southern Wisconsin will see under 6 inches of snowfall between the two rounds, but still got to throw that range out there just in case, especially for the northern end of Rock County. So let's see, Jennifer's wondering here, a few questions, heard about a squall line, talked about coming on Friday. So this may rival that. That's how intense the snow may be for Friday evening. I don't know if it'll be a true snow squall, but this is kind of a quick-hitting, hard-hitting line of snow, which is why we're just trying to emphasize as much as possible. 1 inch to 2 doesn't sound like much for snow, but when you cram that within about a 2 to 3 hour window, that's when drivers can really get caught off guard. Roads are good for a second, and then boom, you've got slushy conditions. So just make sure you're being careful with that, especially because it's Friday evening. You're driving home from work or school, or maybe you're heading out for dinner, or maybe you're celebrating Valentine's Day. You got a lot packed in as you start your weekend, and roads may go from dry to snowy in a hurry. So, or just trying to get the word out as much as possible. Don't let that catch you off guard. this is not a cancel your Valentine's Day or your dinner or your weekend plans. This is more I got a plan for this. I got a plan to maybe get out the door 15 minutes early so I can take it slower. Just kind of think about last night. Again, people were still able to navigate with all that snow going on, but you just had to take it easy out there. That's the kind of thing for tomorrow evening. Again, this is not something that'll completely shut everything down, but this is the kind of event that you just don't want to mess around with. You got to take it slower. So, Tony mentioning, love the snow, just not the cold. The thing is, it will be warmer the next couple days. We're talking 20s to 30s Friday and Saturday, but then temperatures tank after that. We get into next week and we're talking single-digit high temperatures. So, Tony, you do get to escape the cold for a little bit, but it'll be right back into our area as we go into the end of the weekend. Jason mentioning here, we need the snow, got to prevent a drought. The unfortunate thing is we were pretty well into a drought going into winter. Winter in general doesn't bring a ton of moisture with it. Even though that snow can really pile up, that's just a fraction of an inch when you melt it all down into just liquid water. But snow is good in that it kind of helps hold that water around, and then it helps it get into the soil as things thaw out in the spring. When we don't have that snowpack, we have not as much moisture hanging around, which can worsen the drought. So I don't think this is going to be one of those instances where we're going to get so snowy that it'll completely eliminate the drought, but we'll take whatever help we can get. And unfortunately, we just haven't had much help so far this winter. It's been cold, but it's been pretty dry up until this week. Tim's wondering here, will this be a light, fluffy snow again? So this may be a little closer to kind of an average snowfall. So it's not going to be full-on fluffy like we saw last night, but it's not going to be necessarily dense and wet and very heavy. It'll be kind of right in between is how a lot of this will end up going tomorrow. So it'll have a little bit more weight to it, so not the greatest for shoveling, but you want to go out and play with the kids. It's a little better snow for that. And that little wetter snowfall can kind of help cut down on the blowing and drifting. It's not going to fly around as easily as we saw last night, so that may be good considering the winds that'll be coming through. See, Craig's mentioning here, I hope the snow keeps up so it doesn't, continue to come down, that kind of thing. It's definitely fun to go out and play in. So I kind of hope that we see some regular snowfall, not to the point where we're getting snowed in completely, but as we had a comment earlier, we need what we can pick up just to kind of help prevent some of those drought conditions going into the spring season. Linnell's wondering here, I remember you commented that you picked up 9 inches of snowfall in Elizabeth. That's in Joe Daviess County as of yesterday. How much more is expected? So you should be more on the lighter end. You can see the kind of total here. This is for Friday and Saturday, about another 2 to 4 inches of snowfall on the way, which is getting you close to, if not over, the 1 foot mark. So there were spots of Stevenson County, Joe Daviess County, that already saw a whopping amount of snowfall compared to other areas. It was kind of interesting how on this map here, there was like a very sharp cutoff just outside of Rockford. Rockford was more on the 2 to 3 inch line, but right through, kind of diagonally through our viewing area, you got just outside of Rockford and Winnebago. You were getting more into the 4+, even 4 to 6 kind of territory. Then Freeport and Westward, there was a band that set up a couple times that dropped a ton of snow. So we're talking about more 8 to 9 inches of snowfall. So things really continued to kind of pile up a little bit faster the farther west you went. I think with this kind of event, there's not going to be necessarily that banded effect. So in general, it'll be a little more uniform across the board, 2 to 4 inches of snowfall in northern Illinois, and then southern Wisconsin, that's getting into more heavier areas of snow, so 4 to 6+. So if you're just joining us, we're live here on Facebook, YouTube, our website, our app. We are tracking an additional couple of rounds of snowfall coming in over the next couple days, so just make sure that you are aware of what's ahead as we get back over to Future Track. For anybody that's just kind of jumping on in, you can see that by about 5 o'clock, we're still dry, so most of the day will be dry. Then between 5 and 6, here comes the snow. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is when it comes down somewhat heavy. So that is something to make sure you watch out for and not caught off guard by. And then between about 8 to 10 p.m., snow is already out. So we won't see it linger too long into Friday night, but still that 2 to 3 hour period where it's coming down potentially up to an inch an hour at times. It won't be consistent, but we're still going to see at least a couple inches of snowfall pile up in that time period, so make sure you watch out for that. And then for Saturday, it's kind of hit or miss, light snowfall. It will be a bit on or off. A lot of it, I think, comes through during the morning, and then the afternoon's a little more spotty, so you can see that much of Saturday afternoon is fairly dry, so we don't really see that snow hanging around for too long after Saturday morning, so lighter amounts of snowfall in general there. So I think our attention's definitely on Friday evening. Heavy snow at times, 1 to 3 inches of snowfall just within that span of those 2 to 3 hours with some blustery winds. Roads will rapidly change, so don't let that catch you off guard. And then about another 1 to 2 coming on Saturday. That'll be a lot lighter. Still might see some slick spots, but we're not necessarily going to get dumped on as we go into Saturday, adding to the amount we'll have to clean up in general. But yeah, add those up, I'm still thinking about 2 to 4 inches of snow across northern Illinois. Higher totals into southern Wisconsin, and then some cold air after that. So as you can see, it's a busy forecast. So what we're going to do is I'll definitely take an eye on the latest model trends coming in. I don't think I'll have to adjust the forecast much, but it's always good to have the latest information. So I will have updates on that storm track for Friday and Saturday. And like I keep mentioning, it's going to get awfully chilly as we go into next week. So coming up tonight at 10 o'clock for 13 News at 10, tracking the snow, tracking the elements before the snow for Friday, and then tracking just how cold it gets after the snow Sunday and beyond. So plenty of information to go over. Hope for you to join us tonight for 13 News at 10. We'll see you in just over an hour. For now, have a great rest of your night, and thanks for joining us here.